This is Dr. Caroline Peterson and Natural Women's Health Institute. I'm a chiropractor. When people think of chiropractors, a lot of times they'll say, "Oh, my back, oh, my neck, it hurts, pop me, crack me, help me." And I always felt bad about that. I always felt like, I don't really like the way that sounds. I don't really like the idea of how kind of like flippant that is. I know that it comes from people having received a benefit from having been adjusted, and so they're like, "Do it again, it feels good, I feel better afterwards." But from the beginning, I was always kind of suspicious of that. I first went into practice with my dad and my brother in Hermiston, Oregon, in Eastern Oregon. And my first patient came in. She was probably 60 years old. She handed me a piece of paper and she said, "These are my subluxations." And I said, "What?" She said, these are the levels you're going to adjust on me. These are the ones that always go out." And I was like, that doesn't seem right. It doesn't seem like you should have vertebrae that keep going out. If you get adjusted, isn't that supposed to take care of it? And so that's been my orientation for my whole career. And as I noticed that people need to have adjustments over and over and over again, then I started wondering why. Why is that? Why don't they just get well? Why doesn't it just stick? That's what happens to me when I get adjusted. I get adjusted and then I don't have to be adjusted again. And it's a different place that I'm adjusted next time. And so I thought, well, what is this? What is going on? And so over the years, as I have continued to study and had more experience, I started realizing that the musculoskeletal system, which means the bones, the joints, the muscles, the nerve complex, the joint complex, is in a way the voice of the body. It's saying, "Hey, pay attention, something's going on. I'm not going to tell you what it is exactly, but pay attention, figure it out." So there are a lot of different things that can be expressed through the musculoskeletal system. If it's actually a joint issue, a muscle issue, then those things respond great to chiropractic, massage, exercise, rehabilitation, that kind of stuff, stretching. And so you know that, hey, I get a massage, I get adjusted, I do my stretches, and I'm fine. Then you have a musculoskeletal problem on your hands. However, if you're one of those people who's like, "I feel great after I get adjusted, and then I feel the same way that I did before a day later. So I have to get adjusted again and again and again and again." Same with massage. Same with doing exercises or stretches. You don't have a musculoskeletal problem on your hands if that is what your profile is. You will probably continue to see your lovely chiropractor, your lovely massage therapist, your lovely PT, because they're lovely and they do help. But you haven't probably quite gotten down to what the underlying issues are and why this doesn't resolve fully. And so many times the underlying issues have to do with other things related to the fluid body and the viscera or the organ body. So the fluid body and the organ body have different ways of expressing themselves through the musculoskeletal system than the bones and the joints do. So let's say that you have an injury. You are injured in a bone, joint, muscle complex. So muscle and joint heal within 6 to 8 weeks. So if you have symptoms that persist after 6 to 8 weeks, it's not coming from the muscle, the joint, the bone, the ligaments, the tendons, not coming from that. It's coming from something else. very commonly it's coming from the fluid system of the body. What do I mean when I say fluid system? I mean blood, I mean lymph, I mean cerebrospinal fluid. Those are the three forms of fluid that we have in our body. So all of these systems express themselves in different ways. So that if you wake up in the morning with pain, that's not musculoskeletal pain. Why would you have pain in the morning if you've just been laying there? That's fluid pain. And more specifically, that's lymph pain. Because lymph doesn't have a pump like blood does, and it needs movement and proper breathing in order to move it. And so if you've been laying around in bed, then your lymph is probably like not moving right, and so you have congestion that creates pain in the muscles and the joints, and then it presents as musculoskeletal pain, but the underlying pain is really lymph, and you can know that by when you get it. And mostly those people would be like, well, yeah, and then when I get up, I start moving around, it feels better. Well, yeah, that's lymph. That's the way lymph presents. And so you need someone to help you with your lymphatic system, but usually it's not, lymph is secondary. If you have a problem with your lymph system, unless you've had surgery that has removed some lymph nodes and stuff like that, usually it's the lymphatic problems are more caused by viscera, organs being out of place, or fascia that's too tight, or breathing patterns, postural patterns that aren't right. So it's a whole kind of like, not just, you don't just need to have your lymph drained, you need to have those systems set up so that the lymph can drain itself. That's the way it's supposed to be. Let's say that you have pain with movement that is not responsive to massage, chiropractic, stretching, exercise, stuff like that. Pain with movement is usually caused by venous congestion, so that you have good blood flowing down, but the blood cannot flow up well, and so then that creates congestion, that creates engorgement, that creates pain. So the body will tell you what the real source is, but you have to be able to read the cues. Again, with venous congestion, that oftentimes has a component that's related to organs too, because if the organ has fallen over onto a vein or a lymphatic channel or something like that, then it's going to have a hard time clearing. And so the organ may actually be the primary issue that needs to be taken care of, and then the venous system has to be rehabbed, because it doesn't usually go back into full function on its own. It needs to have help. The other thing that you have to think about is nerve pain. So like people will know about like sciatica. That's a very common one. So nerve pain is often also positionally related. So when you're in a certain position, or let's say you're going to sleep at night and your hands go to sleep on you if you lay on your side or you lay on your back. Those are kind of like, you can say, oh, those are nerve issues. That's brachial plexus issue. If you sit down, your pain goes down your leg or into your butt worse, then that's going to be like sciatic. So that's a nerve issue, but you don't know why. Why is there a nerve issue? Is it because of encroachment, because of a bone or a disc, or is there a fluid component? Is there an organ component? So all these things have to be kind of like untangled in order to find a more permanent resolution. So the musculoskeletal system is the voice of the body. It tells us there's a problem. It doesn't tell us specifically what the problem is. That's where the sleuthing comes in. That's where we have to figure out what the big picture tells us, where we need to look first, and how to like untangle this chronic issue that hasn't responded completely to all of the good care that you've given yourself.